Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Complex Like Wine, the podcast where we talk about complicated things and improve over time just like wine does. Here we have another badass chingona with red hair too, who is a winemaker. So I'm very excited. We're going to get to try her wine.
Yeah.
But I'll let you talk more about that. And this is Nancy.
Hello, I'm Nancy Gonzalez Ulloa. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Thank you for taking time to talk with me.
Thank you. Thank you for making the trip all the way up to Paso.
Oh no, I've loved it. I loved every moment of it. So definitely coming back.
Oh, I will be waiting.
Yeah, do you want to talk about your wine?
Yeah, so what we're trying today is one of my wine babies. I call them my wine babies because, I made them and I'm very proud of them. So what we're trying today, it's my 2020 Etna Valley Albarino. So Albarino, it's a Spanish varietal that it's getting a lot more exposure in the Central Coast now. I sourced this from a vineyard that is called Paragon Vineyard out in Etna Valley, which is in San Luis Obispo. The vineyard is about 5 miles east of the ocean, 5 miles away from Avila Beach, which is where you were at today. And so because of this, of the weather in which the vineyard is planted, this area is well known for growing the best white wines in California because of the cool weather. It allows the grapes to retain acid while ripening at a slower speed to develop flavors. So this one, I actually made this wine to honor my sister because she likes this grape. So when I was looking for a grape, she said, you should make an Albarino. And I was like, okay, let me think about it. And I actually didn't plan on making it, and the fruit just fell on my lap. And I was like, okay, let's work with what I have. And so I think it's a really beautiful wine.
Oh, it smells so good.
It's very expressive. I think you definitely get a lot of fruit, a little bit of stone fruit. Something that I really always get with this wine, it's lychee.
Oh, okay.
Right? A little bit of lychee. And my wines definitely, they have high acid, but they also have, I would say, pretty nice body. So I love to make my wines packed with textures and flavors and aromas so that, you can try it and then be like, okay, what am I getting? Let me try it again.
Yeah.
And then the whole bottle is gone. And then you're like, what am I going to drink now? Open up another bottle. No?
Exactly.
But yeah, so I'm really proud of how this turned out. This is the second year I produce wine. In the label, it's a picture of my sister and I love it. So on my website, I actually dedicate this to all my sisters because I have a lot of sisters, sisters from another mister, I would say. But I always have felt a connection to other women. And so my wines and my labels are more feminine and empowering and just dreamy, I guess. And then on the back of the label, I do have, in every bottle, I have a Spanish affirmation. I have been working with affirmations and the law of attraction and manifestation for the past, I would say, 13 years. And this particular label, it says, mis sueños se manifiestan frente a mí, which means my dreams are manifested in front of me.
I love that. That is so cool.
Thank you.
Oh, wow. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Haruda was about to drink before cheering. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, that's so good.
Thank you. So like I said, I think that being able to have the acid plus the body just brings complexity to the wine to the point where you drink it on its own, but it's also really great for pairing. The best pairing that I found, actually, I didn't find it. Someone put together a winemaker dinner and paired all my wines with Latino-centric themes, I would say. Mm-hmm. They pair this wine with this dish that they called fruit cart. And it was like really fancy cut up fruit with tajin. So the best pairing for this wine, it's watermelon sprinkled with tajin. So just throwing it out there.
Okay.
You know, if there's anyone out there that has a bottle that, you know, wants to pair with something. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could picture with the tajin.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
With watermelon. Oh, my God. With sandia.
Yes. So, yeah. So, and I produce, in 2020, I produced 2 other wines. I usually concentrate on wines that are obscure and unusual because I feel that the Central Coast has such a diversity of grapes that are being grown here that are not being grown anywhere else in the States.
Right.
So we don't actually have to travel across the world to try something new. Like, you know, we have that here. So also being able to attach the educational component to the experience, you know, being able to teach other people. And I actually, a lot of the work that I do is to teach Latinos about wine. I think that being able to add that to the experience just adds so much value to, you know, someone purchasing a bottle of wine. You know, it makes them feel empowered, not only that they're buying something of value, but that they're buying something that they learned something new about that they could go and share with their friends and their families. So,
right.
Yeah.
And then even just as like the consumer standpoint, when you get to learn the history and the process, you appreciate it so much more.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I feel like people seeing me as an individual making this wine and seeing the struggles that I have gone through, because I am very transparent about my journey, you know, from start to end, especially with my journey moving to the Central Coast to pursue this winemaking career. I think that people like see a reflection of who they are in me, because it's like I moved from a place, you know, where I had a lot of comfort, my family was there, to the Central Coast where like I didn't know anyone. I came looking for, you know, the American dream of doing something that I really wanted to do, which was to make wine. I have struggled so much to, first of all, to like get in the industry and then be accepted, gain credibility, and then actually do the work that it takes, you know, which is a lot of like physical labor. It's a lot of mental like labor, because you have to make all these decisions.
Right.
The financial aspect of, you know, being a business owner is also like something that I never thought I would be able to or capable of achieving. So being able to actually like get the funds to make this happen. And then once it's actually happening, it's like, what do I do with this now? You know?
And now your wines are like sold out.
Yeah, they sold out. The first year that I made wine, it was in 2019. I produced about 50 cases. I sold out in like 8 days. The second year I produced 180 cases and I sold out in like a month and a half. So this year in 2021, everyone get ready, because I'm coming with a lot more. I'm making about 330 cases this time around. Yeah. And I made 5 wines. So I definitely have a full lineup for people to try different things, and still like really awesome wines, you know, made from grapes that are being sourced from sustainable sources, SIP certified, organic. Some of them are biodynamic. So being able to get fruit or get grapes, you know, that are sourced in a way that is conscious, and also to be able to give them the life that they deserve by turning into a wine that is good, that people are going to enjoy and values. Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness. I'm so excited.
I don't know if that's a lot. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm all like, I swear I didn't have any of this prepared.
No, for me, it's super cool to hear that. We went to Niners and did their harvest tour, and being able to like see the barrels and the wine fermenting, just you appreciate so much more. And hearing you explain it, like, it's so cool to me.
Yeah, I think that once you see it, like you said, you appreciate it more. Also knowing, you know, that like this is like, for me, my wines I think are very special because they're made in a small batch, handcrafted. I do everything myself. I remember one time I was telling someone that I'm a winemaker, and someone was like, "So who makes your wine for you?"
You're like,
and I was like, oh,
the title says it itself.
Like me, like I make the wine. I'm not just buying bulk wine and putting a label on it. Like I literally from root to bottle. I'm, setting contracts to buy the grapes. I'm setting up logistics on how am I going to get these, 4,000 pounds of grapes to the winery. And then, every little decision and everything that goes along the process, I think it's has empowered me to be creative because I'm the one making the decisions. I do have mentors who are guiding me to see what my options are in terms of what are the routes that I could take. But at the end of the day, it's my decision. And I'm the one that at the end of the day, I'm also going to face the consequences of the decisions that I make. So if I make a decision that's not the best, like I'm going to have to figure out how to fix it and I'll get it done. But at the end of the day, it's just really awesome to be able to be creative. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
So this year, the batch that you're releasing, what different varietals do you have?
For 2021, I made an Albarino. My signature, it's a Gruner Veltliner, which is an Austrian grape. Verdejo, which is also from Spain. I am introducing a Pinot Blanc, which I'm getting from Santa Lucia Highlands, just north of here in Monterey County. And then I am making also a Semillon, which is usually the grape that's blended with Sauvignon Blanc and Bordeaux. So 5 white wines. I only make white wine because I love white wine. So I love drinking white wine. So I want to produce something that I like. So I have 5 wines that I'm going to be offering to, whoever that wants to try them.
So for when you release it, can people just buy it online or is it more locally?
Yeah, so I actually, I have family in LA and I have a lot of friends in the Bay Area because that's my base, that's where I'm from. And so in 2020, when I released my wines, I actually did home deliveries. So I took my 2 days off. I went to LA and did 50 deliveries in 2 days. And then I went to the Bay and did the same thing. So I'll be doing that. People can actually buy them online and then choose the option to have them delivered. And so the first round of people that, that buy the wines, they'll be able to get them delivered. Other than that, I'm planning on shipping after that. But I think it's a little bit more personal to be able to deliver them, to their front door. And it's also, I think it saves them a little bit of money for shipping. And I, for me, just being able to get the wines out there and into people's hands, it's the best, feeling in the world. So I'm going to do it as much as I can.
No, I love that. It's very personal. And you get to see the whole process of from roots to the grapes growing to being fermented, barrel, and then being home and then into a glass.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
I actually have had people who have followed my, my journey on Instagram because I'm always posting stories about me being in the cellar or me doing different things. And so when I release a wine, people are like, I feel like I'm been part of this process and I really want to try the wine because I've seen the whole process.
Yeah.
So I think that for those people, it just to know that they value my wine so much, it just warms up my heart. And that's what keeps me going, to continue to make wines that people are going to enjoy, but that they're also gonna be feeling like they have something of value.
Oh,
yeah,
that's so great. For your Instagram, I'm gonna link her Instagram in the bios and all that. Yeah, seeing your stories and everything, it makes it for people outside that don't understand the process or are really into wine and want to know more. It's very cool to see you in the fields and then you with the boxing, your cases. I love it.
Yeah, I love to explain the process in simple terms, in terms that a common individual can understand, because I think it's very easy for people to get lost. If I'm in the wine industry and I'm speaking in wine industry language, it's really easy for people who are in the industry to understand what I'm talking about, but people who are outside, they don't know what a fermentation is. They don't know what malolactic is. They don't know what, bricks are, things like that. For example, I didn't grow up with wine around, my family doesn't drink wine. I got exposed to wine through working in hospitality and fine dining. So during harvest 2 years ago, my parents came out and because during harvest, I have no life. So instead of me visiting my parents, I'm like, you guys come to me, come help me in the cellar. I need help. So they came out here and my dad, we were in the cellar. My dad looks around and he's like, so where's the alcohol that you add to the wine? And I was like, I laughed and I was like, oh my God, you're so cute, because he doesn't understand that sugar turns into alcohol and that's how wine becomes wine. And so I think that being able to like understand these scientific terms or like methods in common terms so that they can understand what the process is like, I think that it's like something that I personally really enjoy, and I think people also feel like they learn something new. So yeah
we were, when we did the tour and hearing the tour guide saying like winemaking art and science, like that's so
yes
cool.
yes and I personally like have found that to be very true, because there's some winemakers that say I like make decisions based on my intuition. And there's some other winemakers that are straight up 100%, you know, like chemistry. I think that the best balance is to like lean a little bit towards both. I didn't know how much of a nerd I was until I started making wine. Right? I started to see numbers and charts and patterns. And that kind of stuff actually really excites me. But at the same time, there's only so much that you could do with science, where like your instinct's gonna come in and tell you what you should do to make a wine. Yeah, you can follow science and make a wine that it's perfect. But a wine that is perfect doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be interesting. Yeah. So you know, you just gotta like go with your intuition. I make wine like I make food. I use different tools in winemaking as ingredients. I like my food packed with spices and flavors and layers. And when it comes to winemaking, when you're using, you know, stainless versus neutral oak, or one kind of yeast compared to another one, or you age longer, or you just like bottle right away, all those factors are going to come in and play a part in terms of the flavors that you're going to get with the wine. For me, I like to do a little bit of everything. Like, let's throw this in and see what this tastes like. And it's all about experimenting. You know, at the end of the day, you can learn from that process and then decide what kind of things work out for you, and then continue to do those things. And even once you have something down, you're still gonna. Every year is very different. You know, not the grapes are not gonna be the same every year. So you work with what you have, and then you just go with it.
I love that. So cool. It's so like. Because I work at a winery, but I'm not part of, obviously, the winemaking business. So coming up here and, like, talking to you right now, just learning more of the process. Again, like, full circle.
Are you ready to move to Paso? No, I'm just kidding.
I've been just having, like, an epiphany. Like, going to college, I didn't know you could get a degree in it.
I didn't know either.
And so I'm like, damn, I just graduated last year. Like, oh, fuck, I would have gotten a different degree. But you can always go back to school.
Life is too short. Yeah. And you don't have to go to school to make wine. I didn't go to school. True. I didn't, you know, take enology and viticulture courses in college. I took them after, once I was already making wine, because I wanted to have the background information to know what I was doing. And I'm like, oh, so that's what that's called. That what I've been doing the last 3 years, that's what that's called. But I know a lot of really amazing winemakers that didn't grow up, you know, or didn't go to school for it. And I think that just like in life, there's many things. I mean, you're not going to go and be a doctor without going to school, right? Yeah. But when it comes to the wine industry, you can get jobs where you can get that exposure and learn. And I think most importantly than anything, like for me to be able to actually make wine, it's getting that mentorship, you know, someone who can take you under their wing and teach you the right and the wrong ways of doing things. Yeah. So it's never too late.
This is true. Before coming up here, I was joking with my dad. I'm like, everyone's been talking highly about Paso Robles. I'm like, I don't know, Dad, I might want to move up here. Like,
I actually have a friend from SoCal that moved to Paso to be in the wine industry, and this is her second year making wine now. So after I started making wine, then she started making wine, and so she's now on board with, you know, the Latinas in Paso Robles making wine. So
mental notes. It's like, okay.
Because I was the first Latina with the brand to make wine in Paso. I'm the first Latina as far as I know. And then so now she's the second one, which is really awesome to like be
Love
getting
that.
more people out here making wine.
Yeah. Can we talk more or go into like your experience of being in the area where it's like primarily Anglo and like being the first Latina to be in this area and like making your own wine? And we talked over Zoom kind of like you've had experience with yourself and all that. Can we talk about that?
Yeah. So, like, honestly, I didn't know what I was getting myself into when I decided to move out here. I knew that I wanted to make a change in my life. I had just escaped an abusive relationship in which I was trapped for over 2 years. And so when I was able to get out of that relationship alive, all I could think about was the fact that I was actually alive and that I didn't have anyone holding me back to do whatever they thought that was best for me. So at that point, I was like, what do you want to do? Like, not what do you think your parents think is best for you? What do you think your friends think it's best for you? What do you really want to do without any kind of boundary? And so the first thing that came to my mind was wine. Like, I want to learn how to make wine. I had been pouring wine, selling wine at restaurants. You know, I worked in fine dining for a long time, and I was able to gain a lot of education through, you know, these trainings that I used to get at work. And so once in my mind, the opportunity of like moving to wine country and pursuing this, I was like, oh yeah, easy. Let's do it. Let's go. And so I was originally going to move to Sonoma. But my boss at that time said, no, you're not going to Sonoma. You're going to Paso. And I was like, what is Paso? Where is Paso? I had no idea Paso existed. And so she convinced me to move down here, and she got me a job. And for a while, I was the director of a wine director at Thomas Hill Organics, which is a popular restaurant here in town. And so, I mean, first of all, like, I moved down here. It's just, you know, compared to San Jose is like 1 million people. Right here, there's like 30,000 people.
Yeah.
Very sleepy town, small, lots of white people, which it's totally fine, you know. But once you start to see division between the people, racism, people looking down at you, I've had experiences where like they were racist, and then they like turned it around on me and kicked me out of a restaurant, which was like, was really traumatic to the point where like, I don't want to go to downtown because I don't want to be exposed to things like that. But like, even in the wine industry, like, it's mainly white men. Yeah. There's women, and they're white women, and they're amazing white women. But it's mainly white men who are dominating the industry. There might be Latinos, but they're always in the back, you know, in the back scenes. You know, they're, you know, putting on the hard labor that goes into farming. A lot of the time, also, even within cellar work, you know, they're doing all the hard work. But sometimes they are recognized. But I think in terms of having opportunities for someone to move up and actually create their own brand, it's very hard. So I consider myself to be so lucky and so blessed to have been able to somehow figure out how to do it. First of all, I think what really took for me to be able to get in it was, like I said, finding someone who saw my potential and who saw how committed and how passionate I was to like make it happen. And so my mentor, who like by accident became my mentor, he saw that I was in a place where I was, you know, like I was literally about to not make my first wine. And he's like, I'm going to help you. We're going to make it happen. So they took me under their wing. I produced my first wine. The wine came out amazing. And he's like, let's do it again. And so I was able to like get my foot in the door. And even once my foot was in the door, I mean, it was really hard for me to like come up with the money. You know, it's a lot of money that you're investing. Like, it's not, you're not just buying like 10 pounds of grapes, you know, or like, and it's not just the grapes that you're spending money on. It's, you know, it's like the label design, the labels, you know, the bottles, the corks, and all this stuff. And then once you actually have the wine, it's like putting the work in to actually sell the wine, you know, figure out how to get it to people. But I think once I did it once, I was able to like get a feel of like what I had to do to make it happen again. Yeah. And so it's getting easier, and I'm saying easier, and, you know, and what do you call them? Yeah. But it just, you know, I think that I'm building character, and I'm building also a sense of security and confidence
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't have before. Because even once I made my first wine, I knew the wine was good, but I was still very insecure about it. And people would drink it and they would say that it was amazing, and I still wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I felt definitely the imposter syndrome was something that made me feel like I didn't deserve to be in the industry. And even when people like give me compliments, it's really hard for me to take them because I feel like I need to earn it. And like some people, have said like you need to earn it and work a certain amount of time, or you need to go through this, or you need to go through that. And I'm like, no, we don't. Like there's many different ways of doing things. Like I don't need to live your story to know that what I'm doing, it's
Mm-hmm.
worth who I am or what my product is. So I think that just, having that mental like checklist of knowing that like I am doing everything right to like earn, my worth and what I'm doing. So
I can imagine, well, this even for me too, or any person that's doing a business, like entrepreneur, an artist, like a marketing and networker, like, it's a long process to get there. And then especially anything that's collaborative,
mm-hmm.
where with the imposter syndrome too, of like understanding like where you're at and recognizing like all the talent that you have,
Mm-hmm.
and whether people like give you compliments or not, and having to fight again the imposter syndrome, and like needing to really like sit with the thoughts that you have and not let it like stir you to a different direction where you're not pushing forward.
Yeah,
that's so hard.
I think that one thing that has helped me out is the fact that, like, believe it or not, I know that there's some winemakers, males, who have been intimidated by my potential. And
Oh, I believe it.
like what I keep on saying to myself, and also I would say this to them, it's I'm not trying to imitate anyone's style of winemaking. I'm not trying to replicate anyone's wine.
Mm-hmm.
I am bringing something different to the table that it's not there. There's not demand for what I have because I'm a woman, because I'm a Latina, Mexicana. I have all the intention and the passion and the commitment to do what I'm doing, like above anything else. I mean, like family is everything to me. And at this point, like my family knows how important my career is. So I'm sacrificing the time that I could be spending with my family because I know that eventually I'll be able to like grow to the point where I could sustain my family,
Mm-hmm.
my parents. Like it's our tradition. I'm Mexican. So in my tradition, it's like once my parents get old, then I have to look out for them. So like I'm building a foundation to be able to have something that we're all going to be able to enjoy the fruits of,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that also just reminding myself that I'm very unique and like there's no one out there that's making wine like I am. I think that gives me more of, a leeway to not think about like what I'm taking away from someone else or what this person's going to think of me. Because I still think about like people are judging me.
Yeah.
They think that I'm, getting freebies just because I'm brown.
Yeah.
Because of all the movement, that social movements that are going on right now. But at the end of the day, I'm the one putting in the work and I'm the one looking for the opportunities and taking the opportunities. Because I'm also like, I'm not just sitting here waiting for people to just bring me,
Mm-hmm.
bring these opportunities to me. I'm going out there and like networking and making connections with people, and just doing as much as I can to help my brand and also to help me grow as a person and as a business owner and as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
even just me with like, learning how to mature and like how to recognize like what I need as, as a human, because I think it's very easy for me to forget that I'm a human. I'm a workhorse. Like I'm a workaholic. I like work all the time. I have a full-time job here. I'm making my wine on the side. And like I have very high expectations of like who I am and like what I should be able to achieve and perform. And like for example, last week I had like a big meltdown because I had been working in the past like 2 months. I probably have taken like 1 full day off. And I was to the point where like I had to break down mentally to recognize that my body was telling me that I couldn't keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to ask my boss if I could leave early. And it took everything in me to actually say, I can't do this anymore. And so I went home and like went straight to bed, and I was giving myself such a hard time because I left work early.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister, she's the psychologist of the family. She actually is studying psychology. She was like, I'm surprised like that you went this long without actually having a meltdown, because you are working way too fucking much.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that like I said, just like remembering that I'm human and that I have needs and I need to rest. I think it's something that I'm working on at the moment, instead of, just going into like, I can't do it anymore.
I think this applies to most women because historically and even now, we have to prove ourselves more than men do.
Yeah.
And so we have that additional pressure on ourselves, especially women that really want to be successful and are very independent, that we have to do everything alone. Yeah. And so when we have to take a moment just to breathe, we think like it's almost like time is money.
Yeah.
In the sense of like, all right, like if I'm taking time, if I go home early from work, or if I don't do this, it's a huge cost. Mm-hmm. And so it's so much pressure.
And I think what you mentioned also about like proving to yourself and to others that you can do it by yourself, it's probably a mistake that we shouldn't make, because I feel like soy orgullosa, like I have pride, and sometimes I'm like, I could do it by myself. And then like I end up getting hurt, or like, being so exhausted to the point that like I start resenting myself for not asking for help when people want to help. People want to see you succeed. They're willing to be there. Do you need food? Someone will bring you a meal. Do you need help with something? They'll be there for you, but you just have to get over it and ask.
That's something I've struggled with for a while. I think I've gotten to a place where I'm way better about it. But for a long time, I never wanted to ask for help because I was either like embarrassed or it was so overly considerate to the point like I don't want to bother anybody.
Yeah, inconvenience. Yeah. Same.
Being an inconvenience to anybody gives me so much anxiety. But like you said, people do want to help. Yeah. And like whether like a young businesswoman or even older, even for men too, like people see potential in you. And most of the time they see it more than we see it in ourselves. Mm-hmm. And so it's can be scary sometimes, but like putting that leap of faith of like, you know what, I'm going to ask for help. Yeah. And if the person like says no or gives you shit for it, that's a huge reflection on them. And to kind of touch back and you said like these larger companies are a little bit intimidated. That's a huge reflection on them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you should be concentrating on what you're doing rather than worried about what my next move is.
Yeah. And it's like a huge flag, like a banner of that person or that organization, whatever, like what insecurity they have. Yeah. It makes you wonder a little bit.
I definitely have been able to like see more clearly after a few things happened to me, to the point where like I choose who I share, like my plans with, because I feel like not everyone is there to see you succeed either, and so I think like protecting my vibes and being able to recognize who my people are has been like crucial for my success. Like before I used to be able to share everything with everyone, and then there just been instances where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna keep this to myself and enjoy it by myself. But like with the whole thing with asking for some people, like definitely you need to like the people that are there for you. I think one main thing that we could do, which I have learned the hard way, is to get rid of the illusion of control that we have. Ooh. Like that for me, I feel like thinking that I could control everything has brought so much pain to me. Yeah. To the point that it made me realize like this happened the first year that I was supposed to make wine, or the first year that I had planned on making wine, I'm a Virgo, so I like plan everything, and everything needs to be perfect, and it really doesn't. But like in my mind, I'm like, it has to be done this way. And so I was at a point where like I was supposed to make this wine, and I couldn't get the grapes that I wanted to get. Mm-hmm. And so like I went home and I started to feel sick. Mm-hmm. My body was feeling sick. I had a huge mental breakdown, and I literally like I had been living by myself, and I just was on my knees like in my living room, like crying my eyes out. And I finally said, fine, then I surrender. Like I am gonna do whatever's coming my way, whatever, like I'm gonna go with the flow. Like I surrender to whatever the universe wants to bring my way. Mm-hmm. And then after that, there was such a release of energy to the point that I was like, why don't I do this more often? Like, why do I have to think that everything needs to be like my way or the highway? Mm-hmm. And so doing that really has helped me to like put things into perspective where like, yeah, everything's not perfect, but at the end of the day, I'm making it happen. And I am so fucking lucky to like be doing what I'm doing, because there's people out there that would love to be doing what I'm doing, and I'm actually in the middle of it, and I need to enjoy it, and I need to honor like, you know, my place and where I'm at, and honor myself for all the work that I've been doing. So yeah.
That, oh my God, like claps. That is such a powerful point. Like the power of illusion, or like the illusion of power.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm blessed enough I was able to learn that lesson pretty early in my life, like from the trauma I've experienced at home and all the like twists and turns of everything I had to go through. Like, it's not within your control. Mm-mm. And sometimes you just really have to take the punches.
Yeah.
And just, like you said, go with the flow. And once you're able to just like let go of what is supposed to happen and just appreciate what is happening, good and bad, there's so much more peace. You're at so much more peace.
Yeah.
Like this, for like my most recent applicable thing to that, like I usually film on my phone because it's just in 4K. Like most DSLRs will like stop after 30 minutes. So this gives me like the flexibility to do it. The morning of the first podcast I was going to do, my phone corrupted and like I couldn't do the whole video. So I was like, oh my God, trying not to have anxiety. Yeah. Like, okay, how am I going to problem solve? What am I going to do? So if I was so rich, I'm like, no, it's supposed to be this way. I would be so embarrassed and probably would have not like left the Airbnb and like done the podcast. But like, you know what? I'm here. The audio still works.
Yes.
So that's great.
Which is what's, I mean, like,
no, that's the important part. Yeah. The video is me being extra.
Yeah.
That's me being ambitious.
Yeah.
But it's like, whether it's work, whether it's like lifestyle, relationships, like you just have to learn to like let go. And like we talked on Zoom, like you're a spiritual person.
Yes.
And I consider myself a very spiritual person. And like letting go of the ego of things are supposed to work this way because it's like it the fits
ego.
My
the ego is your enemy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I there's an affirmation that I like use when I feel like I should use that every day, but I think when things are starting to like go south, and this affirmation comes from one of the best and most amazing spiritual teachers in the world, Abraham Hicks. So the affirmation just says, everything always works out for me. And so like sometimes you might not see like what's behind what's going on, and then it unfolds and you're like, oh, okay, that's why I went through this. I shouldn't say this, but like if I hadn't gone through domestic violence, I would not have ended up moving to Paso and making wine. Yeah. That was not in the cards. If I would have been in any other relationship, that would not have happened. So I do think that sometimes things do happen for a reason. And the best thing you can do is just let go of that. And, you know, everything always works out. No matter what. Everything always works out. So, So yeah, just reminding yourself that and being gentle with yourself. You know,
give yourself compassion.
You can't control everything. You know, you can't control everything, such as, like you said, a compassion and just being able to like recognize if you're being extra. I think that's really important, and just going with the flow. So
yeah, I totally agree. And for my past like trauma and experience, not that I'm happy it happened, but in a kind of weird way, I'm very grateful it did. Because as much as we shouldn't have to say, like, we have to go through shit to, like, become better, like, you are able to get the skills and the maturity and self-awareness to be, like, to know, like, I can move past this. Yeah. And I've said this before on the different episodes on the podcast, but when I'm like super struggling with my mental health or nothing is working now and I'm so lost, I always go back to the idea of I've made it past all my worst days. So if I'm going through like deep shit, like I've made it past worse and it's fine. Like I'm going to figure out, and like what we said earlier, like going with the flow and learning either how to problem solve or just to sit in it and know like it's a season, it's going to pass.
Yeah. And you're more advanced than me, girl, because honestly, at me, sometimes, like lately, what I've been going through with like feeling so exhausted from, you know, from working in the cellar and working my other job and another job and, you know, everything, I feel like it's really easy for me to like just like get stuck in feeling these heavy feelings to the point where like I don't even want to put effort in like getting myself out of them. And so, like, with the whole, going back to the whole thing of being humans, you know, I think it's very normal for us to be able to feel these deep feelings, because if we didn't feel them, like, what would be the point of being alive, right? Exactly. And for a long time, I'm going to be completely honest, I used to, like, smoke a lot of weed to numb myself from all the PTSD and the trauma and the anxiety that I had from thinking that my ex was going to come hunt me down and kill my dog and kill me. Like, I used to like smoke so much to the point that I didn't feel anything for years. And then I realized, wait a minute, like if I'm not feeling the extreme lows, I'm not feeling the extreme highs. Like I'm not naturally feeling what it's like to be happy, because I'm so like, my vision is so fogged that I can't see anything past what's in front of me. And so I think that it's really important to not give power, but acknowledge these feelings, because they're telling you that there's something going on that you need to work on, you know? So I think that having a healthy balance of like acknowledging the feelings, but not getting lost. Yeah. And talking to someone, because that's what I do. I have been more inclined to actually share what I'm feeling with like my boyfriend, or inclined about what I'm feeling with my sister, where in the past I didn't like to tell anyone that I was feeling suicidal thoughts, because I didn't want my sister to get worried, or I want to inconvenience my parents and make them think that I can't, you know, like be a functioning human being. And so I think now, because I have recognized how deep and far I can go with those feelings, like I'm being more honest. And it's a cry for help. It definitely is. But the people that love you don't want you to be through that alone. So you can find, you know, like with my sister, like we find a plan for me to, like, once I'm starting to dissociate, then I can do a body scan and then like bring myself back to where I'm at, rather than for me to just drift away and then have it be worse later, you know? So I think it's really important to have a balance between both.
For your balance, and like, how can you give some examples for people listening that might be in a place where they're very lost and they've gone a little too far to get help? What are some ways that you've been able, besides like reaching out, like daily practices? Like, do you meditate or do you do anything else?
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. I've been listening to your podcast too. So I think that being able to like relate to other people and know that you're not alone, you know, because we all think that we're in these little boxes and no one else is going through what you're going through. And it might not be exactly the same, but we're all going through something. And so being transparent also about like what you're feeling, like people reach out to me and before I used to be like, I'm amazing, I'm great, even if I wasn't. And now I'm like, you know what? I'm okay. Mm-hmm. Like I'm exhausted. I am exhausted to the point, the exhaustion is like leading to depression. Mm-hmm. And I'm like being honest and they're like, what can I do for you? What do you need at this point? Like what can I do to take some load off your plate? And so like having that option of having them step up and like help me like has been huge. So being honest with yourself, being transparent, seeking help. If it's not professional, even just to call a friend and talk to them. Also, if you're feeling overwhelmed, cry. Mm-hmm. Cry. Just let it out. Because that's something that I feel like it builds up if you don't let it out. And like it might end up worse later. Yeah. And by worse, I mean physical ailments. Like you're going to start to get sick. That happened to me. I recently, during harvest, like, and I noticed patterns when things happen. And like I had this thing on my eye. I think you probably can see it right now. It's a little bit like smaller, but usually it happens when I'm like really busy. So I was stressed out about it because it gets red and it's really small. And I went to the optometrist and I was like, what's going on? Like, tell me what's wrong with my eye. And he said, it's stress trying to leave the body. That's what it is. You don't have an eye infection. It's stress leaving the body. So if you don't do what you have to do to take care of your mental health, your body will tell you. Yeah. And then you'll regret it. Yeah. Because for it to get to that point, like it just, you know, like, come on, bro. Like you would do this for your pet. You do this for your cat, wouldn't you? Yeah. You have a cat. I have cats. Yeah. My cats are my life. You would do it in a second. Yeah. You would do anything that you have to do for your cat to be okay. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to you, it's like you always push yourself to the side because you have other priorities. But you should always have you be your own priority, no matter what. And that's not selfish. It's not selfish because you can't take care of other people or your cat if you're not okay.
Exactly. That's something I've had to really understand this year. Like, it's okay to put yourself first.
Oh, it's like, more than okay, girl. Yeah,
like
it's not selfish.
No. And if, like you said, like if you aren't okay, then you're not in the position to make sure other people are okay.
Yeah. Or your cat.
Or your cat. I was kind of like, I feel guilty this weekend because I'm like, I don't know if my cat's having, like, if he's okay and stuff, you know, but
he's fine.
He's fine. My dad's got him. It's okay. But no, exactly. Like, you have to learn, like, you deserve to put yourself first. Yeah. And you deserve to set your boundaries and you deserve to take no bullshit from anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. And you deserve to have a mental health day, which is something that I'm learning. It's like, that was never a thing, you know, in the past, but now it is. And it's like, if you need a day off to yourself with, you know, no one bothering you, take it. Mm-hmm. Take it. Like, you'll be recharged. You'll be happier. You'll perform better. Your body will thank you for it. Just do it.
In the last podcast episode, Sato was sharing that you can schedule yourself a pity party. You can schedule time where you're like going to have your tissues, your glass of wine.
I like that.
And just sit in it. But then you have the intention, like, I'm going to take this moment to just really deal with all the messed up stuff. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow and be like, all right, I'm back.
I have the perfect playlist for that. I listen to my Spanish rock music that I used to listen to when I was in high school, and it brings so many feelings, and then I cry out of nowhere. So like, that's like what I play when, like, I love or like that. Banda. I play some banda, like, oh, you know, you're having a heartbreak and like you just listen to banda and it's like so like full of feelings that I'm like, okay, it's helping me to like drain all these feelings out. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
It's needing to take that time for yourself is very crucial.
Very important.
Very.
Yeah. Which I think, I love the fact that a lot of your episodes are centered in that. And I know that you talk about, you know, us being complex like wine because we, you know, we have substance. We have had struggles. Like, you know, I can relate to you because my family was not, you know, I mean, like, I love my parents, but they went through a lot, and I felt that I had to look out for my mom when I was a 7-year-old kid. So like I was forced to grow up fast because I felt like I needed to cater to her. Yeah. When I was a kid, you know, I was a kid. So I know that with what you went through with your family, like it was really important for you to give support to your dad. And like, you know, for a kid to feel that they have that responsibility, I think that we're entitled to be kids and cry and have all these emotions, because maybe we shut them down for a long time because we needed to be the adult at that point, you know. But I think that giving ourselves permission to feel all the feels is the best thing that we could do. Yeah. And I like you bring up, like, it's okay to like be that kid and like connecting to that inner child work and realizing, especially for like us that had to grow up early, that we, like, when I first started focusing on inner child work, it took me a while to think like, what did I like to do as a kid? Because I felt like I wasn't able to be a little kid, you know? So what was your answer? Anything artistic. Okay. Or dancing 100%. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was literally just asked that question in a questionnaire yesterday because I'm about to start being coached. And so the question was, what did you enjoy doing as a kid? My answer was helping others. And I'm like, I didn't have a childhood. Like, what do I want to do now? Yeah. So I feel like I still have to explore what it's like to be a kid, you know? And so that's my mission, you know? Yeah. That's my mission, to be a kid again. Well, I'm excited for you for when you figure that out. I'm on it. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your perspective. Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to share, or like any more plugins for your? Honestly, I mean, like, I just want the little girls out there who, like, I feel like were in the position that I was growing up, to know that that they have so much potential. You know, me being 12 years old, an immigrant arriving to this country, not knowing a word of English, thinking that my only option was to be a housewife. Like, it's fucking ridiculous, because looking at how far I've gotten, like, it just shows you the potential that we all have. And I think that if I could be a mentor to little girls, that are young, that look like me, like, that's all I could ever ask for. Because even when I moved to Paso at my age, I had never met anyone who looked like me, who's doing what I'm doing. Yeah. So being able to do that for other girls, I think that like, that's all I could ever ask for. So if you are a young 12-year-old girl who doesn't know English, no, I'm just kidding. I'm like, I'll tell you what life is all about. But and you said talk about my wine. If like, there's anything else you want to share? My next release for Ulloa Cellars. Ulloa, by the way, it's my mom's maiden name. So that's why I chose that name for my brand. So the next release for Ulloa Cellars is going to be in April 2022. You can go to bossladywine.com and sign up for my my mailing list, where we'll be giving updates on the wine. I'll be able to ship the wine, but I'll also be doing deliveries in the Bay Area as well as in LA. Or if you just want to hit me up and ask questions or talk or say hello, please do so. I always love to meet people and spread the love and spread wine education. So if you want to learn more about wine, hit me up. Hell yeah. Yeah. Come visit Paso. No. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I work at my day job, my 9 to 5. It's a winery called Seven Oxen. That's where we're at right now. That's where we're at. We have really amazing wine. The service is okay, you know, hospitality is okay, but I'm the only employee, so. But I would love to see you guys and, you know, just introduce you to our wines and just, you know, talk about life. And because that's what I do, you know, people come in here and they're like, so what's going on with your life now? You know, so we're just catching up. It's very casual. So I'd love to see you guys out here when you come to Paso.
Yeah, come out to Paso, people.
Or invite me to LA. I'd love to go out there and do a tasting of my wine once it's ready. If someone wants to host like a tasting at their home, I'll bring my wines. You guys bring the food. Let's barbecue. Let's do it.
Sara has her hand up. I have my hand up.
Okay. It's on.
We're planning this.
It's on, people.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm super humbled and honored. And I want to thank you for amplifying my voice and for allowing me to share my story. It really means the world to me. And, just keep on doing what you're doing. It's amazing. And I see you going very far. And I can't wait to follow your journey and see what you're doing.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, people, for listening to this episode. I'm going to have all of her info online. That way you can check it out. Check out her Instagram. You can see her process with winemaking. Super cool. I've been enjoying scrolling through your stuff and be like, that's so neat. But yeah, thank you, people. If you want to reach out to her and I, have different conversations, please feel free to do so. And yeah, again, if you're watching on YouTube, I have a post show what the bottle looks like. That way you can check it out online and see. But yeah, thanks again. This is Nancy, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.